What's up with you guys? Welcome back. Just a quick update. Going into our third night. After 6 pills of Cytotec, a bag of Pitocin, epidural.
I'm on my 5th bag of Pitocin.
5th bag of Pitocin.
And the blue.
Epidural, peanut ball in there, a balloon, vaginal balloon.
Foley.
Foley, is that what it is? I'm learning. She's doing fine.
I'm at a 6.
We're finally at a 6 dilation, so just waiting on Ava to do her part.
They broke my water.
Yeah, they broke her water finally. So everything's looking good so far. It's moving forward. So I know, babe, I'm sorry. This is my beautiful wife right there. Yeah, babe.
Hi, I have feeling in my bucket just now.
She's got feeling in her feet now. Ava's moving, she's awake now. They got her on oxygen. Her contractions are low, but they're very close. They're gonna up her dose in a bit and see if they can get a bit stronger. Hopefully get Ava out too at the same time, which she is gonna come out. She's being stubborn, little girl. But yeah, so far so good, you guys. Peace out.
Did you call her?
Don't make me push the button.
Oh, I'm not going to myself like a button.
You ready for another dose?
No, I feel like...
Did you call her?
No, you need to. The thing's on Hector's side. You need to call. You need to press the button.
Take some deep breath. Breathe in and out.
It's just my side that hurts.
Breathe in and out.
Oh,
You feel like you have to push?
I just feel pressure. Oh,
So come look right now.
That's just gonna
Good job. Relax your body if you can. It's gonna already put that mask on, right? The glasses on.
it's working. I can breathe.
Okay, alright. Am I wrong to say that I'm excited?
Oh.
Thanks, babe. Get you a big ass donut after this, don't worry. Okay. Whatever you want, get it. We'll get 6 weeks of it.
Hi. Hey guys. So, don't mind this. This is just a work in progress, but I wanted to explain what happened during my labor and everything. So it was intense. It was a full 3 days. Got there Monday like you guys seen, and by Wednesday they did break my water. Got my water broken. So from Wednesday at like 6:30 in the afternoon to Thursday, I had 24 hours to deliver. So around Thursday at 7 o'clock, I got a new nurse. And she was awful. I'm not gonna lie. She is the reason why I had to have a C-section. So long story, I'll tell it to you guys. She got there around 7. I had an IV. I don't know if you can see it, but like I'm still like bruised, but I had an IV right here, which is the worst place to put it because when you push, you hold your legs and you can't really bend. So she gets there and she's just like all over the place. Like she's like, oh no, like all these wires are crossed and blah blah blah. So she starts like getting my arms and she's like throwing them. And so I had told her like, oh, it hurt, my arm hurts, like this hurts right here. And so she's like, oh, okay. So she grabbed my wrist and threw it and I like started crying. So like I was like really upset about that. She did it more than once. She did it about 5 times. And so she was there when the doctor broke my water. Ooh, this hair. She was there when the doctor broke my water. So then a little bit goes and another doctor comes in and she tells me that Ava is facing up instead of down. So what she could do is go inside and reposition her. So we do that. And I am still on Pitocin at the time, and I'm starting to feel my contractions a lot more, and for some reason my left leg didn't take to the epidural. So I would get the epidural and it would work, and then it would wear off only in my left leg. So when I would press the button, nothing would happen. So they came back and they gave me some more meds for the epidural. I got that twice, so they topped me off twice. And so she goes in there and she repositions Ava, but being stubborn that Ava is, instead of facing down, she started to face like this way. So like her body was facing this way and she was looking that way instead of looking down. But I had to try to push her out facing this way. After she leaves, she tells them to leave me on Pitocin, and so that way my contractions can keep on going, because my contractions were every 2 to 3 minutes. So it was going there and I was able to do it, but the nurse took me off Pitocin, so my contractions were completely done. And so after that, about an hour goes by and I'm supposed to be having contractions, and I'm not even on Pitocin at this point. And so the doctor comes back in and she's asking like, oh, like, you know, you should have already at least been able to push her out, because, you know, she's positioned a way that you can push her out now and it won't, you know, you can try. And I was like, oh, okay. And Hector, my mom and my sister are in the background, and at this point they know a lot more what's going on than I do. I was like in and out of it. It was intense. So then finally they changed positions of my IV, and the doctor is still in there, and she is asking how are my contractions, and she notices that I am not on Pitocin. And so she kind of didn't say anything in front of me. I don't know if she said anything in front of me. I was so out of it. But the doctor confronted the nurse and says like, why isn't she on Pitocin? And then the nurse blamed it on somebody else, which it really was her fault. She's the one who took me off. She even told me and Hector that she was gonna take me off so that way she can fix the lines, which she wasn't supposed to, and she never put me back on. So now I wasn't having contractions at all. Like my contractions completely stopped. So then they started my Pitocin all over again, which it took 2 days for me to even get contractions off of it. So they took me off Pitocin, or put me on Pitocin again. And now the doctor was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to help you push. We can do a vacuum, which at the time I didn't know what it was, and I don't think I would have said yes if I knew what it was. But I was just more of like, just anything to get her out. I was mentally, physically exhausted. I was crying because the nurse was awful and she was like everywhere, and it was just so uncomfortable. So then all these people started like rushing in. There was about 25 people in my delivery room. And there was like all kinds of nurses, and there was like people for Ava, and there was just like 25 people. So at this time, I didn't know what was going on. I was in and out, but I guess Hector had told the doctor about the nurse and how she was everywhere, and how she was being a little too much, and she was giving me and them, my mom and sister and Hector, anxiety because of how she was careless and how she was treating me. So the doctor actually had my nurse at the time removed and put to somewhere else. And so that's the reason why so many people like started coming in to help me pick up the mood and to help me deliver, basically, which it was very, very helpful. They were cracking jokes and everything, but at this point I was just so tired. So they ended up doing the vacuum, which the vacuum is very scary now that I think about it. And I felt really, really bad after everything for Ava. Basically, it's this, not machine, but this little thing that goes inside, and it goes around the head, and you like pump it up so that way it sticks to the head. And so when you're pushing, the doctor is pulling the vacuum, but it's scary because the vacuum can pop off, and you get 3 pop-offs, which at the time I didn't know anything. Like, so the first time she did it, I was pushing and she was doing it, and it popped off, and like blood shot everywhere. And at that point I was just so scared because they said pop off, and I honestly thought something happened to Ava. And so they're like, no. So in my part, I felt really, really bad. Basically it happened 3 times, and after that I had a push. So the pop-offs happened 3 times and I had a push, and my contractions were 10 to 15 minutes apart. So I would push and then my contractions would go away because I was off Pitocin for about an hour. So everything my body just stopped. It was physically tired. So the doctor would have me push, and so I would push about 5 times, and then I would look at Hector because Hector was there most of the time. Like, he did have to step away, and my mom and my sister, because it was just a lot. There's a lot of people, and it was a lot going on. And I guess what had happened was I got to the point where I started to turn blue, and my sister told the doctor, like, I can't do it anymore, like, it's too much. And they were all afraid about losing me because, you know, it was a lot, and I was turning blue. And I was telling Hector that I couldn't do it because I was so tired. So they ended up taking me to an emergency C-section. I had to have an emergency C-section. So I was terribly afraid. I was so scared. I was tired. So all of these people, like 25 people, rushed me to go get the C-section, and Hector was getting dressed. So I was crying because it was just a lot, and I was scared. So they did the C-section, and we didn't get any video of it because it was just a lot. We didn't get a video of a lot of stuff because it was mentally, physically, emotionally a lot. And I'm really happy that we didn't, because reliving it is a lot, and it just brings up a lot of emotions. But yeah, long story short, I got a C-section, and Ava came out she was healthy throughout the whole thing. Her heart rate, nothing was wrong. She was just stubborn and didn't want to come out. So then got the C-section, and then after the C-section we got back to like the where they have to watch me to make sure like I don't pass out, because I did pass out during the C-section. After they were done getting Ava out and Hector had went with Ava, I had passed out for a few minutes. So they wanted to make sure that I didn't pass out again, and they're also getting our room ready. So then after that we go to them watching me room, and then Hector went first and Ava got her shots and everything. I do have a few videos of that. And then we were just waiting now. And yeah, I will insert the rest of the clips that I got from when we went to the waiting room, to them watching me, and then from us leaving, and I'll insert some pictures. But yeah, overall, I'm happy that me and Ava are good and healthy, and that nothing really bad went wrong, just other than the vacuum. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, especially because after she came out, her head was so tender, and usually, you know, babies want to be held and they want people to like go from arm to arm, and she didn't want to do any of that. So it made me feel really, really bad. It won't happen again. But now it's about 10 or 11 days since I'm gonna film this, and she is amazing little princess. Her head is completely, well, not completely, but her head is doing really, really well. She's eating really, really good. She's such a good baby, and I couldn't be more lucky to have her and Hector in my life. But yeah, and there will be more videos with Ava. Also, I do post on my Instagram of Ava, so if you want to see her, more pictures of her, I guess you would say, go ahead and go over to my Instagram. I'll leave it right here for you guys. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.